CRA put those, on your North Lake Beach, they put those in a lake up there?
The what?
That lake that's on 18th Avenue?
A lake.
That lake on 18th
Well, the cemetery.
Avenue, just west.
To the east of the cemetery, they have a fountain in the middle of the
All right,
lake.
Dunya says she's ready.
Okay.
I'm just.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the North Miami CRA Advisory Committee meeting of this September the 6th, 2018. Can we start with a roll call, please?
Ms. Koba was unable to attend. Ms. Cohen as well. Mr. Each?
Here.
Ms. Estime Irvin?
Here. She's not here. She's not coming.
Ms. Geimer?
Here.
Mr. McDermott?
Here.
Dr. Milian could not make it. Mr. Reynolds could not make it. Mr. Sanchez? Ms. Couch?
I'm here.
Mr. Gentil?
I'm here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. All right, can we next begin with the Pledge of Allegiance? The flag is behind the screen, I believe. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, can I hear a motion to approve the July minutes?
I so moved. Second.
Any discussion on them? Any additions, et cetera? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, agenda item number 1.
Okay, I'm going to move to do my little PowerPoint presentation. If Mr. McDermott can. Okay, here we go. It's not working, Dunya. Dunya, it's not working.
She comes.
I don't think your clicker's working. You have to manually.
No, she tested it before, so. Give me a hand, please. Oh, which button do I press? Okay, so to keep, okay, here we go. Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Before we review next year's fiscal budget, we need to talk about the fact that we had to do a budget amendment of this current fiscal year, budget 17-18. Several reasons. One is we had some changes in our revenue. Most notably, the carryover. Last year, as you know, when we closed the budget and presented the budget to you, we didn't fully close it. Of course, as you recall, Hurricane Irma had delayed a few of the things. However, not all the books had been closed. So when we finalized the books and we went through our audit, we realized that there was an excess of carryover of $369,717. So that is now reported in the carryover. Secondly, our projected interest on investment has increased tremendously. We usually project conservatively at 3,000. So far, it's at 6,392, and it might be a little bit up by the end of next year because the interest rates have increased, and we met with the bank and they changed our rates on our investment. And lastly, under miscellaneous revenue, you see $25,000. That's because one of our CRA grantees, Academy for the Les Petits Enfants. It was a daycare on West Dixie and like 135th Street. We gave her an enhancement grant for $25,000. And as you recall, part of the deal is they have to own the property, stay in the property, and so on. She sold the property. And you know we have a lien on every property that we have a grant on. So unfortunately, at the time of the closing, well, I should say fortunately, at the time of the closing, we got a call from the title company and they had to refund us the $25,000. So what you see in the miscellaneous revenue is the $25,000 back from the grantee. Mr. Each? I'm sorry? It's like, I would have to look, but it's like 136th Street on West Dixie. It's a little further, like 138th then?
No, yeah, 139th.
139th and West Dixie. It's on the west side of West Dixie. When she came to us, she was redoing the inside because there was like a water damage and she had DCF requirements that she needed to fix the place up so she can get up to her numbers. So she ultimately, not only did she sell the business, she sold the property. And as a result, because it was before the 3-year lien, she had to refund us the money. So there's a change of $398,109 in our revenue. However, we spent it already, so Mr. Each is not available for the water fountain. So, couple other changes that we made in the budget. In the operating expenses, we had budgeted, as you recall, for community policing, about $200,000 for community policing. Because some of the expenses are actually related to capital outlay, which is the license plate readers that we've been talking about, that we will be paying for, and that's why Chief Page is here and the procurement director is here. We had to reclass that item from community policing, which usually covers police time, brochures, and so on and so forth, to actual capital outlay. So we removed that line item and it all went under capital improvement. The money was spent on the increase in commercial grants. As you know, Dr. Moise's grant request was over our limit. And also, we acquired the street sweeper this fiscal year because, as you recall, it takes 8 months to order the street sweeper for it to be here. So that was an additional $200,000 expense in our budget that we had to classify for. So for the 17-18 budget, those are the only changes that we're presenting to you that we actually had to do. And I ask, if you don't have any questions, I ask for your recommendation to approve.
Okay, any
How long
questions?
did you stand that street sweeper? 2 months?
No.
No,
8 months.
Oh, 8 months.
Yeah, it's 8 months, and it's because it's customized to spec. It was actually through the Sheriff's Association of Purchasing, right, Mr. Destrade? One of their pools and so on. But for us, so that means if we had done it, approved it in October, done the PO and everything, we would have seen it the following fiscal year. And to save time, and because next fiscal year, our big thing is about clean, not only the clean team, but the neighborhood ambassadors and all the stuff we're trying to do to improve the area, we need to make sure that the equipment was here in a timely manner.
Okay, any other questions on the budget amendment? If not, can I hear a motion to approve? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay. Dunya, how do I switch? Yeah, right? No. How do I switch? I'm gonna. We're good? Okay, and yes, I'm ready for you.
That is good.
Okay. Okay, and here we go. In your packet, you have the narrative and the spreadsheet. For Mr. Gentil's education, the format that we have here is what the county requires.
Okay.
It's not the same as like the city's budget and so on, but this is the county's format for all CRAs.
Understood.
So the narrative has more detail than the spreadsheet, but obviously I'm here if you have any questions. So for this fiscal year, our budget is estimated to be $8,238,894,000. The city TIF contribution is $3,928,836,000. But, as you know, part of our interlocal is to refund the city 45% of the east side, which is pretty much the Solemia property. So we're refunding the city $408,542. So our net contribution from the city for the TIF for our budget is $3.5 million. For the county, which is astronomical, and I know I've gotten several eyebrows raised by the manager and the mayor so far, the county's TIF is $2.5 million. However, as per our interlocal, we have to refund them the west side. The west side is $2,091,000. So our net contribution from the county is $454,236. That's it. So when you look at our budget and you see the big number and you see our budget's at $8.2 million, however, 30% of that is refunding back to the county and to the city. And that's per our interlocal agreement from before, when the CRA was created in 2004, and then the new commitments that we made in 2016, when we got our renewal, our extension of life. The carryover funds that you see here, 1.75, is actually the left carryovers for the projects that we are still working on, that we haven't finalized. It doesn't count the projects that you're gonna be improving tonight that we're presenting, and that's why we have these capital projects here for you to approve, because we like to encumber them this fiscal year, and because I've already kinda encumbered them already. We're projecting $6,000 in interest on investments. Again, it's very conservative. So I think it's actually gonna be a better year for us, and we'll have a little bit more cushion to work on. So like I said, our total budget is $8,238,894. Our accomplishments for this year, it's always good to toot our own horns of what the committee and the board has done. We've given out over $1 million in commercial grants. We commissioned the workforce housing study to guide the future housing priorities. We had a great follow-up meeting with Professor Ned Murray, August 31st. I wish you were here. You were there, because I know you had a lot of questions the last times, Mr. Each, about the housing. But the analysis that he did is actually on the CRA website, the PowerPoint. It had some very interesting findings and data. The final presentation will be done at our October meeting for you to fully review and so on. But right now that he's done the data gathering and so on, we're working on strategizing on the priorities. So this way, for the next few years, the board can actually make recommendations based on actual need and data as to what it is that we should be focusing on. We completed 80% of the market positioning plan. As you know, we have a new website. We did the 10,000 walkers guides, the pole banners, as you see. We have the commercial. We've been promoting the downtown NOMI, the city of North Miami throughout. We just came back. Actually, Sam Blatt, the economic development manager, went to ICSC conference on my behalf because I was on vacation and so on and so forth. So far, I've gotten 3 emails telling me they missed me at the ICSC conference, and they would like to. These are developers that want to talk about projects in the city. And we had a CRA booth. We had all the collateral materials. I wasn't there, but Sam was there, and he did a great representation, because I've gotten 3 requests for meetings so far from developers interested in understanding what's in the CRA and what's in the downtown. So
there's a new link. That's a new web address for the.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the new web address for the city, the downtown, not the city of North Miami proper, but North Miami in terms of the business, and that's actually going to be our new website. Right now, the North Miami CRA website is still active because
Yes.
we're segueing into the new, what do you call that, agenda system. Like the city now they're using Champs. I don't know if you've noticed, the format is different. The council members are using tablets. And the way the system is, so they've changed the system. Tomorrow, we will be trained, and tomorrow, as of October, we will be now on the new Champs agenda software. And when that happens, then the old CRA website will be gone.
So the CRA website will merge into.
Yeah, so when you do northmiamicra.org, it'll send you to that website after they fully segue us. Because of the agenda issue, we don't want people to not be able to have access to our materials and stuff. We have to stay as is until we go fully live. That's the only reason. But all our information, your information also is on the Downtown NOMI website. So please take a time and review it. We funded 59 homes, the rehab for single-family homes. They've already processed 58 applications of people that are eligible for this. In addition to the $1.19 million that we invested, we fund half a housing coordinator and half a housing inspector at the city's housing division. The Mocha Plaza renovations are underway, yay. And we established a NOMI Connect program with the North Miami Police Department to assist the businesses in the community. Chief Page can elaborate a little bit more. I know you're looking at me like, what? But there's a little blurb, more narratives. All these are just bullet points as to what it is that we've done, so people can get a refresh on who we are and what we've done. In terms of expenditures, I'm gonna go through it with you. Again, if you look at the pie chart, our administrative costs are no more than 4%. Again, it covers the administrative, the audit, a fee to the county. They actually charge us an administrative fee, so we have to pay them that as well. Operations is $1.3 million, which is 16% of our budget. It covers staffing, attorney's fees, marketing, brochures, and all the other things that we need to operate and process. And the refund to the taxing authorities, like I said, is $2.5 million, which is 30% of our budget. 25% goes to the county, 5% goes to the city. And as properties improve and property values increase, it's gonna change. It's gonna increase as well. So, you know, don't be shocked when you see the sticker price, like, oh, we have a lot of money, and then not really, because we have to refund it to them by March. And the bulk, 50% of our projects are in capital improvements. So what we are proposing, again, our budget has $1 million in commercial grants, like we've done in the past. We've also put in the additional payment to Dr. Moise's clinic, the $302,000 that we had committed to. So that's a $1.3 million that we have. In addition, we have the $100,000 for the film incentives that we piloted last year. Even though nobody actually applied, the money is still there, it's still available, and I think Sam is working on some kind of marketing to, like, brochures or something to directly advertise to filmmakers so they know that this funding is available. We are gonna complete the remaining goals of the strategic marketing positioning plan. One of them was for us to hire our own public relations firm to market and promote positive experiences of the downtown, the city of North Miami, all the investments and the incentives that we will be pushing when we redevelop the downtown. Right now, we rely on the city's PIO department for the press releases, but we, like, when you look at other economic development agencies or downtown development agencies, their job is to actually market the businesses, market and promote the initiatives that are happening, and we're supposed to guide the story and not let reporters guide it for us. And that's the person's responsibility, that's their job. We're about to put out an RFP, we've been working on it for a while. I've gotten best practices from other CRAs, other DDAs to make sure that the RFP is comprehensive. I'm looking for creativity, I'm looking for somebody who's very responsive, not a person, but a firm that's very responsive, and somebody that has experience in initiatives. You know, when you look at the presentation that these people do for these large-scale development, it's not a, you know, it's not a rinky-dinky project, but you see the value, you see, and you want to be part of it, and that's what we're trying to portray.
Has that RFP going out yet?
No, it's about to go out in like 2 weeks, right, Mr. Destrade? Yeah. But it's like 99.9% done. We took care of everything. Establishing the Downtown Neighborhood Ambassadors and Clean Team Program. This is like one that I'm very excited about. We've been talking about the Clean Team Task Force as a city. The CRA's portion of it, apart from the street sweeper, is actually hiring a group to do the actual cleaning. I read in the Daily Business Review that the Wynwood Business Improvement District was gonna hire this company called Block by Block. And it would actually help them save money. Instead of hiring the Miami Police Department or the Miami Solid Waste Department to clean up, they were gonna save like $14,000 a month in expenses. So I started researching. This company called Block by Block provides cleaning, safety, ambassador services to most downtowns in the country. In the state of Florida, for Florida, they provide the clean team for Coral Gables, Lincoln Road, Coconut Grove, the downtown DDA, Jacksonville, and they just signed Orlando CRA for the downtown. Nationwide, all of DC, California. So their expertise is working with business improvement districts to make sure the area is clean. The gentleman, I called him and asked him, you know, to give us, he's gonna give us a quote, and we're gonna discuss it when he does his presentation, but he flew in and we walked around. And his observations were, you're not supposed to have gum on the sidewalk. You know, when you walk and he says you're not supposed to have that. It's supposed to be clean. You're not supposed to have weeds coming through the sidewalk. It's supposed to, so he made me notice the things that we're not supposed to have, just the basic things. And the model they have is, I think, is very impressive, and it's very, and the manager asked them a lot of questions when we interviewed him and so on. First of all, they hire local. We will have an operations manager that they would hire. It's full-time, and then they hire local. I don't know if you were familiar, but the city had contracted with the Career Source after Hurricane Irma for a clean team. And those people can apply to be on, to be part of the clean team. They will be required, believe it or not, they get trained every other month. They need to know what the messaging is. So if you go to anybody who's, I'm designing the uniform, by the way, but if you see them wearing an orange shirt with the CRA logo and they're cleaning, you can ask them, where is City Hall? Where's the passport? Which is most of the questions that people ask. What are you doing? What's the campaign for? Those basic questions. That's part of their neighborhood ambassador's responsibility.
And they're going, and the neighborhood ambassadors, but they're also going to be.
Cleaning.
Team.
Yes.
They'll be cleaning.
Yes, they're provided all, funny thing, they, for instance, they don't let them go home with their uniform. They have to come, clock in, and they have to put on their uniforms at the office and then go out. They said they don't want them going out to, let's say a liquor store afterwards. They don't want them going anywhere afterwards with a uniform on. They're very strict on their rules, which I like. The company's called Block by Block.
And they're going to.
They would manage the whole thing. All we have to do is help them find people locally that will do the job.
And they will, you pay them and they in turn
Yes,
pay.
yes, and they provide all the equipment. What they do, for instance, like he asked me what my schedule was. I'm like, I want it to be 7 days a week. I want an early shift and I want an afternoon shift.
How
Okay,
many people are we looking at?
that's what he's gonna tell me. And what we did is we walked the downtown corridor. I told him the 125th, this part of West Dixie, we walked it for him to understand the perimeters of what I want him to cover. And what I said was, we're starting in the downtown as a pilot to see how it is. Then we can grow on the other major corridors. Actually, the manager said he wanted him to also empty out the trash bins throughout the major corridors within his area, because right now Public Works staff does that. So he's like, since you're out there cleaning and they will bring their own equipment, they will do all of that. But again, this is a presentation that they're gonna do in October when we bring them to you so you can see what they're doing.
I wanna ask
Yes.
one question. With regards to the clean team, I thought the city was gonna pay for some of it, and then the CRA was gonna pay. I
No,
thought it was a
the
60-40 split or something like that.
I don't know where you're getting your figures from, but the CRA is only doing what's in the CRA area,
CRA, right.
and the priority is the downtown. So from the downtown, then we will spread to the other major corridors.
But how about the rest of the,
That will be on the city side.
How did you?
that's what I'm saying, wasn't that what they brought up, Mike?
Yeah, but I can't answer for the city, right? They're going through the budget process right now. I know Councilman Keys brought it up at the first budget hearing.
When's the next one? Tuesday?
No, the next budget hearing is the 17th. Yeah, yes, sir.
How did you all determine downtown to be the priority versus?
The downtown plan for the strategic, for all this, and all the stuff that we've been doing is to drive people to the downtown. So this is part of the strategic plan that I was telling you about, that we hired RMA to do. They delivered. Actually, their contract is over with us because we've launched it and we've done every single, like I said, 80% of what was on that to-do list has been done. They told us to do capacity building grants. They told us to change this and do that. We've done everything. So what you see there, creating a monthly strolling event. Okay, so you need to start getting people to come here, not to, like for me, when you come to Jazz at Mocha, the fact that people come and sit down is not helping the businesses. You want them to walk around, you want them to listen to music, but you want them to shop and look and patronize the area. And so it's upon us as the CRA to create that, opportunity. Lastly, implement an arts and public places program to beautify and or activate unexpected pockets of the downtown. Focus will be on murals and utility box wrapping in the downtown and surrounding the Mocha Museum. Again, Mr. Gentil, just for you to understand, this, again, anything we do has to start somewhere. The downtown was considered the priority. Once we're done with that, and the mayor actually asked me about the pole banners, how come I didn't do more in West Dixie? West Dixie is a different area.
And that's why I was asking, like.
Yeah,
how
West
did-
Dixie is a different area. The city had determined what the downtown parameters were. And if you look at the Walker's Guide, you'll see there's a map with a circle. After that, the West Dixie is known also as the Arts and Entertainment District. After we're done with here, we will be focusing on West Dixie. And they will also have their own identity, their own, initiatives and so on. Northwest 7th Avenue, Councilman Deserme has sponsored the Chinatown project. and all these other projects. Do you see? So right now, our focus is the downtown. Once we're done with that, we will be repeating in the other parts of the CRA, if that's a better
Yes.
understanding. Yes, sir. You had a question? Okay. So for the, yes, ma'am.
And I don't think it has any effect on it, but you know, September 10th, they're gonna start tearing up 125th Street from, northeast First Court to northwest Sixth Ave.
Yeah, no.
Well, they're having a talk tonight.
Yeah, but no, where the downtown is actually like the 5 Points, the 5 Points intersection. Yeah, Mr.
Okay.
Stenbridge's building really is like the last part of the
Okay,
downtown,
okay.
that's what they call
I
it,
figured it
heading
didn't matter,
east.
But I just wanted to
Yeah,
make sure.
is it gonna be is it for a good thing though?
I
It's
didn't
to
go to
build
the meeting, I'm
capacity
here.
at 95.
Oh, so it's not a
On and
good
off.
thing.
No, to make it easier to get on off at
They're
95.
gonna take those two lots and make
They already
that.
took those two houses on the north side.
No, I know.
DOT
they-
did,
they
right?
just
Yes.
lost
The
it,
houses,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's already torn up.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's to build capacity at the interchange.
all right.
Yeah.
So moving on, apart from that being one of the priorities, this year, $540,000, like I had said before, will be for single-family rehab program through the city's housing division. Again, we're still gonna support and fund the housing staff, the inspector, and the coordinator. Just for you to know, and I think I had mentioned it to Mr. Junti when we did the orientation, the interlocal that we signed for our extension had us on specific benchmarks. By 2024, we needed to have rehabbed a minimum of 70 units. This will get us, we're overachievers here at the CRA, so we already took care of it. So by 2019, we will have more than 70 units rehabbed. We will have met that goal, which is good. So that also will free up additional funding for all these other housing priorities that when FIU presents it to us, we can actually focus on first-time home buying, other types of rental assistance, and so on and so forth as need be. All right?
Okay.
I'm going the wrong way. Hold on. Here we go. Again, we're gonna continue providing the commercial grants to existing businesses, the capacity building. We are establishing a NOMI restaurant boot camp program. This is specifically for existing mom and pop restaurants within the city, CRA mainly. And this is something I've been working on. I think I mentioned it to you, Mike, a while ago about the NOMI boot camp. You hear a lot of, well, I'm being gentrified, you're bringing in these new businesses and I'm not benefiting from it. Okay, you need this technical assistance, you need this expertise because your business is only cash, right? Or the way you're doing your marketing, your service, your customer service is not attracting additional people to your business. This boot camp is actually gonna be working with 10 restaurants. I've been doing a lot of secret shopping. I've lost weight, but I've been eating a lot lately. But a lot of secret shopping so that we can see what the issues are. I gave an example to the mayor today. There's a restaurant on Northwest 7th Avenue. It's 7 p.m. It closes at 8. They won't serve you because they're gonna close at 8. Okay, do you think I'm gonna come back?
No.
There's a Haitian restaurant on Uber Eats. I always tell people, Uber Eats because I don't cook at home, right? He's selling the griot, right, the fried pork with rice and plantains and everything for $6. He's also selling the fried pork with just the plantains for $6. Which one are you gonna buy?
Yeah,
The one with the full.
right,
But how much money is he losing
right.
in that? And remember, Uber Eats, you have to pay them 30%. So what is your business model? And so the whole point of the boot camp is it's a 6-month intensive customer service, passing inspections, getting all your health certificates, helping them with their menus, redesigning the menus, whatever needs to be done. And once they're done in 6 months, we will have not just a graduation, a certificate program, but they can come back to us and say, okay, now I need my beautification grant to enhance the facade and clean up the place. But your staff is trained. Your food is better. There is more, there's more consistency in your food, Sometimes, you'll go to a place, one day it's good, one day it's not, because it's a different cook. You need to have standardized menus. So we're gonna create this and launch it, and actually the mayor gave me like 2 recommendations, and somebody else. Every time I mention the boot camp, somebody throws me a recommendation of another restaurant to talk to. The reason why I'm pushing for this, in addition to the fact that our existing businesses need all the help they can get, FIU has a incubator program, but they will never leave their business to go to FIU campus and be
Right.
part of that incubator and do all of that stuff. And I just actually spoke with the director. She was just telling me the membership for that, if you're not accepted, if you want to just participate, the membership is $3,000. And how will that small mom and pop business be able to leave their business to go to FIU every time for that money
Right.
and for them to see a return on investment? Whereas what we're doing, the model we're doing is the people are going to them. It's gonna be one-on-one, it's not gonna be a class setting. They don't have to share their dirty little secrets in public, like sometimes, small mom and pop businesses feel like. But they are gonna go through the process, they have to sign a pledge, you gotta go through the process, you have to do the homework, you have to do it, and we need to see progress. Councilman Desrumé called me about a restaurant, and he's like, oh, she's having issues with her inventory and so on and so forth. Is there a way for us to help? She buys her food at the regular grocery stores where we buy the food.
What?
So my point is, even if we helped, it's not gonna help the rest, because her markup, she will always be losing money. She should be looking at Restaurant Depot, she should be looking at Cisco. If she's not aware of it, we need to help her realize those things. You see what I'm saying? So, again, I'm just giving you these little tidbits, and I'm pretty sure you also have your own stories of your
This is like
experiences.
Chef Ramsay on steroids.
But no. Chef Ramsay's on TV, and the whole. No, this is one-on-one. You're gonna see the noticeable changes, and you're gonna come back and say, I know which one was on the boot camp.
Even like for me, like being a millennial, majority of the restaurants I eat at is because I'm on social media and I'm looking at someone just posted their
Reviews?
food. No, not even. Someone just
Oh.
posted their food on a page and they put this is where
I bought.
this is where I bought food at, and the presentation is, it's appealing. So which causes me to travel outside the area just to go try this food.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that will also help the businesses out. Like if you have like a social media component, because you'll be surprised how many people, on social media that pays attention to stuff like that.
No.
For example, I'm gonna use finger licking. People travel from all around the world to go and eat the food, and it's because of social media. They promote it so well on social
Yeah.
media.
Yeah.
So
No, I know. They will get that, I think, after, because it's part of their marketing plan that the curriculum that we created is part of the marketing plan, has that. But the core is customer service, back of the
Basics.
house,
Yeah, basics.
Basics. But a lot of them
and
don't.
things like that.
Unfortunately, a lot of these little restaurants just don't know the basics of ordering
of
food,
ordering
service, the whole
customers,
thing.
yeah.
or timeliness.
Yeah.
In it,
and that.
I'm like, we're leaving it there. Okay, so, and the other part of it is establishing a restaurant incubator and collaborate with area universities such as Johnson & Wales and FIU Food Incubator to recruit applicants. This is something that, again, we've been talking about, but it actually got the push that we wanted because the city manager went to a City Managers Association meeting in Dallas, and they toured this place called Trinity Groves. It's actually a restaurant incubator. The guy who created it is the guy who did Romano Grill or something.
Okay.
And when I went on their website, when you look at it, so they give people opportunities. If you have a great product, a great plan, they will help you. The only thing is they give you 2 years. You either succeed or you don't, and you move on. So they had an example of a group that he met was 2 sisters that used to bake from their church, and they would make like $12,000 a year, and that's it. When they participated in this, they're at $2 million a year.
Ooh.
So now their time is gonna pass, and they have to move on to leave space for someone else.
Right.
But the way the management of the operation of that space is they take care of the operations, the technical assistance, the mentoring, and then they bring the people. So it'll be like they're advertising like as if they're like Wynwood Yard, and yet you have these restaurant incubators. And a lot of graduating students from Johnson & Wales and Food FIU Incubator are looking for space, but they can't afford a full
Right.
restaurant.
Right.
They're looking for something small that they can manage, that's within their means, so they can grow. And because, again, we have both assets in our city, why not capitalize on it? So that's another project that we're gonna be focusing on. The way we look at it is we're gonna look at specific properties and try to get long-term leases or acquisitions, and then find operators to get this done. almost done. Invest over $3 million in capital projects in support of the newly amended CRA plan. This year, again, the only two new things that we're doing, and it's not really, I can't say new, but those are the two priorities that we have to get done. The downtown redevelopment project, the P3 project of this corridor has to be underway. That is part of our interlocal agreement. We needed to have a parking garage, 60-space parking garage with a retail storefront by 2024. I know we've talked about it a few times, we've presented. At this point, the bond didn't pass, we're moving past that. We need a new city hall, we need mixed-use development. The manager's been actively working with other people that are interested in public-private partnership projects. So that's gonna be our priority. The Griffin Community Center, part of the West Dixie Green Trail. Remember, we were supposed to be doing a walkable pathway from the downtown to the
Waterfront.
the Griffin Center Park, right? The Griffin Center, I'm told, is not in any, I've been there, but the space is not properly used, right? The city owns the whole space, so it made sense for us to actually help with the redesign and creation of a proper community center, and including the West Dixie Green Trail. So you're actually guiding people to something, right? Continue working on the Northwest 7th Avenue Innovation District, the Chinatown. The Mobility Hub Master Plan, some of you attended the workshops.
Right.
We had our meeting today, debrief meeting with the consultants, IBI Group. They will be presenting their plan to you in October. Once they are done and they give us, their recommendations and what the initiatives are, we will be focusing on that. And again, as part of the innovative community policing and protecting the community, we have the license plate readers that you will be approving tonight, but there will be other innovative projects that Chief Page keeps coming up with regularly that we'll be focusing on next year. So I gave you the bullet point narratives of what we're gonna be focusing on, the narrative you have.
Is this in here, the packet?
The narrative? The PowerPoint?
Yeah.
No, I did it so I wouldn't have to read the whole thing, but
Yeah,
I
right.
can give it to you here and I can send it to you as well. It's
Email
just,
it
this
to
is for me, yeah.
I think this is a good,
This is better,
yeah,
but you must read the narrative.
and I will, but this is nice to refer to.
Okay. We worked hard on that narrative. Gail McDonald did the whole design.
It's beautiful. It's
So
wonderful.
I know she wants you guys to at least, read through it and so
Oh,
on.
I will, but-
Okay, I will give it to you in a second. I have extras here. If you have any questions, Mr. Sanchez, you haven't said a word.
No.
Don't start it.
Okay,
You know what happened.
okay,
Rasha,
yes,
you finished?
yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so that being said, that is our agenda item 2, which is to approve the
1819.
18-19 budget. Okay, motion to,
Second.
any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you. The next
Now we're
item,
gonna move on to,
Iron Manor.
yes, Irons Manor Park renovation.
Okay, before Mr. Destrade starts, I just wanna remind you all, these are all projects that were part of the downtown, master plan that was approved in 2014. We would like to finalize them and move on so we can focus on additional other capital projects. He's gonna explain to you the process. We went out to bid. There was a lot of, we had to negotiate a lot of costs, to get it down to an
Right.
appropriate budget. And Mr. Destrade.
All right, good evening, committee members. Alberto Estrada, Purchasing Director. Rasha's a tough act to follow, but I'll certainly try. The item that you have before you there, item number 3, is our recommendation for your approval and to recommend approval of a bid award for solicitation titled IFB number 521718. And this was for the renovation of Iron Manors Park. Iron Manors Park, for those of you that are not familiar with it, is located at the intersection of West Dixie Highway, Northeast 9th Avenue, and Northeast 132nd Street. And I'd like to pass around a copy of the location map so you can all take a look at it. and just pass
Yeah,
it around?
they
Yeah,
have it in the
we've seen it
packet.
before,
I've
You've seen it.
Yeah.
I know it's
This is a project that, again, it's part of the overall program that Rasha spearheads in terms of initiatives to improve the area and to sort of create a more incentive for the residents and members of the community to utilize it. This solicitation was issued by my office on June 1st of 2018. Essentially, it's a request for hard bids, what are called competitive bidding. The work that's included in this project is the renovation of the park. It includes the removal of existing landscaping, the new installation of pathways, replacement and addition of lighting, landscape improvements, and renovation of the existing water feature. The work also includes some demolition, site grading, landscaping, irrigation, electrical work. There's a decorative crosswalk, sidewalks, ADA ramps, swale regrading, sodding, asphalt driveway reconstruction, signage, and pavement markings. As reflected in the package and report that was provided to all of you, in response to this solicitation, the city received 4 bids, 4 proposals, and they're tabulated there for you. The low bidder in the initial bid opening was the company M&J General Contractors. I'd like to point out that as a result of their cooperation, as well as the efforts of staff, including your CRA director, myself, also the project manager, which I'd like to point out, Mr. Jeffrey Gorg, who is seated back there, we were able to accomplish an additional savings of approximately $22,087 from the original price. So therefore, the recommended bid award for this project is $267,263, and the anticipated completion timeline is 90 days from notice to proceed. You should have in your package a copy of the solicitation, a copy of the bid proposal, as well as a copy of the revised total price following our negotiations with M&J General Contractors. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to take them.
Yeah, I have one question.
Sure.
Alberto. There's a huge difference, almost $400,000 difference between the first bidder and the third bidder. Was that simply the difference in material costs as was estimated by the groups, or is it they were doing something a little different?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because that was one of the reasons why we initiated a conversation with this low bidder to not only review their prices, but really to make sure that they had a complete price for the project. The last thing that you want to do is simply to award a project for a low bidder that is not going to get you there toward the end of the finish line.
Then it's change order after change order.
Exactly. So you want to make sure that you have a complete project. So the conversations that we had were really geared towards, let's review your price proposal, let's review every single item. As I said, your CRA director participated in this. Myself, also the CP&D director, also participated in these discussions, as well as, I should add, the project engineer also participated and helped. So I'm very confident that the price that you have is for a complete project, and that we're going to have a successful project with this. Yes, that caught our attention also.
Yeah, okay. Well, I know you guys do a great job there, so.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
So once we approve this, this goes to the board, and when will they start?
Once they get a signed contract, so give it a few more weeks,
Okay.
and then
And then after
And-
that, 90 days?
90 days from
It'll
that.
be 90 days
So-
following what's called the notice to proceed. And typically, the notice to proceed comes after we execute the contract. As Rasha mentioned, it takes a couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks to get that executed. We also have to make sure that we get their insurances, any bonding requirements. So once we have that in place, then we'll proceed. As I said, I don't know if you have a chance to look at the proposed layouts that you have there. So,
Okay.
What's the original date on that? Would they go back to the thirties or twenties or, do we know?
my goodness.
On the fountain?
No, it was like in the forties.
Do you know how old the fountain is?
The forties is when they did the
No?
the last renovations, I
He's like, Jeff
believe,
is
was
like
done
that.
in the forties.
No, I mean, they.
How old?
Oh, no, I
No,
remember
we're talking-
Roseau, it stopped being a water fountain, then it was a planter.
No,
Mm.
they came to our meeting, Kenny, and they gave us the dates of
Yeah.
when the last major
I
renovation.
remember in the seventies, it was a planter.
The what?
Huh?
And
No,
then
because
they fixed it again, we had the military things in
Well,
there.
anyway, you should have been at the meeting. It was great. They gave us the
Yeah.
So
whole,
what was the?
Okay.
I think it was built back in the early forties. Yeah, yeah. Hold on one second, Mary. Anybody else have any questions of going once, going twice? Okay, we have a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mary? And then second by Inez. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
That was, Mike, that was put on the Historical Society.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
The Miami-Dade County Historic had to approve our design
Right,
and everything.
Right.
So,
No, they went,
it's old.
yeah, actually, some people, in the central homeowners actually went down to had to go before the county, the preservation board.
Yeah,
Preservation,
yeah.
that's correct.
Yeah,
They issued us a certificate and everything.
right,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Sure thing.
All right,
All right.
okay,
Needed
that.
so, again, we're gonna do item number 3 4 in reference to Cintel LLC for a license plate reader.
Okay, once again, committee members, the item that you have before you, and actually this is a joint effort collaboration, and Rasha actually mentioned it earlier in her overview. This is one of the initiatives that the North Miami Police Department, spearheaded by Chief Page, has pushed forward, and Rasha again has supported it. What I'm going to do is I'd like for Chief Page to talk a little bit about it, but I'm just going to give you an overview of the selection process, the procurement process, and if you have any questions with the selection, and then I'd ask for Chief Page to talk to you a little bit about how this program is going to be implemented for the city. Essentially, what my office did is that we issued a solicitation, an RFP, RFP titled number 131718, seeking proposals, soliciting proposals from 4 license plate reader systems for the North Miami Police Department. In response to this solicitation, and all of this is in the report that accompanies the package right there in front of you, in response to this solicitation, we received 3 proposals. And the proposals are there listed with the various firms, Cintel LLC, Miller Electric Company, and Vetted Security Solutions. The evaluation process became a 2-step process. The initial tier, if you will, was a review by the evaluation committee of the qualifications of these firms. And based on the results of their initial review, then there was a second step of tier 2, where the committee invited the top 2 ranked firms to make a presentation before the committee. So the results that you have here, and the final rankings are on the second page. The final rankings following the presentation to the committee were the top ranked firm is Cintel LLC with a score of 470 points. So based on the committee's final ranking and their recommendation, this is what's being submitted to you all. The fee for these services, and again, I'll ask Chief Page to talk a little bit more about the services, is approximately $165,000 a year. The initial contract will be for 3 years, and there will be 2 additional renewals, annual renewals at the option of the city, in fact, the CRA executive director. So that was really sort of the evaluation process, the selection process. If you have any questions about that, I'll be glad to take it before I turn it over to Chief Page in terms of the selection process itself.
Any questions?
I just wanna, go ahead.
You said there's an annual
It'll be an annual.
So we're leasing?
No, it's an annual contract. This is a services contract that they'll
Oh,
provide.
okay.
They provide equipment and services. And with regards to that, I'd like to have Chief Agent, he'll tell you a little bit more in terms of the actual, how it's going to be implemented, and I think it might clear up maybe some of your questions, Chief
Chief, can you
Agent.
also tell them where it's going to be,
Yes.
please? Thank you. 'Cause I forgot.
Good evening, Robert Page, City of North Miami Police Department. And real quick to give you an overview of how the license plate readers work, I'm sure you're familiar with them, but some other members of the board may not be as familiar with them. They're basically cameras that would sit on the side of the buildings, or they could go on traffic poles or traffic lights or any structure within close proximity to the roadway. The reason we're gonna put them on private buildings is there's still a debate going on with FDOT if we can use them on state roads or not. We can use them on state roads, it's just whether we can place the actual camera on the state road. So we're gonna put them on private properties, so we run into no issues with the state or with the county. And it's a small device, it captures license plates as they go past. It does not run the license plates, that's a big misconception. It compares it against a list of stolen or wanted vehicles. And if the stolen or wanted vehicle is on that list, they call it a hot list, it'll send an alert off to our dispatch center can then say, such and such vehicle with such and such license plate, crossed this point and it's headed in this direction. And then we can set up upstream from the device to try and capture the violator. It also stores the data, and myself and Rasha had a discussion about it. We'd look at about a 90-day retention period for the data on there. And the reason we wouldn't wanna go over 90 days is because we do wanna value the privacy of the traveling public, but we also wanna maintain the data long enough that if there was a crime or if we were looking for something, we would have that data available for us to then research and look for something. North Miami Beach was able to use our red light camera when it used to be at 151 in Biscayne for a red light ticket, which captured a license plate, to establish a timeline for a homicide suspect. So very similar to the license plate readers, if we were looking for a car, we could pull up the cars that pass by a certain point at a certain time to see if did that car pass by, to either prove or disprove an alibi story, or it can give us a starting point in an investigation. If Walgreens got robbed, and we know the time it got robbed at, we could go and pull a small amount of data, maybe 5 minutes on both sides of it, and see what vehicles pass by the license plate reader. They're a very valuable tool to law enforcement, and they are a tool that many cities already currently have, and it is technology that has already been proven in the law enforcement field. We were probably a little bit behind by not having them.
We see it on TV all the time on shows.
They're there, they're used
Yeah.
all the time. The state of Florida uses them at the tolls when you run through the Sun Pass. The license plate technology is a proven technology, and for the locations real quick, it would be, we were looking at, the name of the bar escapes me. It's the one on Northwest 10th Avenue and 119th Street. It's the bar that's been there forever.
Put a bottle cap, little
No, it has a name of it. It's a very generic name on the bar.
You know what you're talking about, we know.
Yeah, it's right there. It's right up against the roadway.
Yeah,
It's right there on about Northwest 11th Ave and 119th Street, so it would cover westbound traffic on 119th Street. We're looking at we've already talked preliminary with the lady at the tag not the tag, it's the check cashing on 123rd and Northwest 7th Avenue. Clark Reynolds for right here at the Mocha, or what used to be Mocha Cafe, which is now the Downtown Cafe, I believe it's called. And then across the street where the Wingstop is now, his parking lot right there. And then what is Captain Jim's. So those would be the first 5 locations to go, with a concentration on the downtown, and then on 119th Street and also Northwest 7th Avenue, so we would spread out the license plate readers.
You mentioned earlier, and I lost you, why can't put it on street poles or what?
There's an argument right now with FDOT. FDOT has backed away from it a little bit, and they're starting to allow cities to put them out on FDOT right away. Originally, FDOT was sending letters out to municipalities telling them to remove them from the FDOT right away, because FDOT was not issuing permits for them. So since FDOT would not issue a permit for them, they looked at them as unpermitted work. FDOT has relaxed their stance a little bit, and they're not asking cities to remove them as of yet.
They're leaving it up to the county,
They're
correct?
leaving it up to the county, but so we don't have to deal with the state or the county or with anything else, and with the new governor coming into office, you can see some changes coming to FDOT. And we started this project almost 2 years ago, when there was still a prohibition by FDOT. If we put them on private property, the infrastructure's already there, the power's already there, there's a cost savings, and the permitting is North Miami permitting. We don't have to go through the county, we don't have to go to the state for permitting. So it makes it easier to get them off.
I just wondered why the state would object to
something so good as that.
It was a permitting issue with the engineers.
Okay. Any other questions for Chief Page?
It's Alberto's Place is the name of the bar too. Alberto's
Oh.
Place.
That's a generic name. That's a generic name. All right, chief,
No.
that's a generic
No,
name.
No conflict of interest.
Right.
And you said, would any vehicles be mounted? Any of
This
your
is all
vehicles?
for fixed, when the
All-
CRA,
this is all
when we entered
fixed?
into with the CRA, we wanted to keep everything within the CRA boundaries and districts and to make it clean for the CRA process. We looked at fixed license plates.
And the reason I ask, because I know you guys have an officer that does your CRA
They
district.
patrol the
maybe-
CRA.
And
the
I see the CRA
district.
Segways, there's not like a CRA vehicle?
It is. We could technically put one on a CRA Segway. And in
Well-
the RFP,
Don't
it
give
also
them
talked
any
about mobile
ideas.
devices, so they're in there. So it's something that we can progress to. We looked
Okay.
at the fixed mounted as phase one.
Okay,
And then once we pilot the fixed mount and we show the success or how good they work for us, we could speak with the CRA about possibly the Segway or about
I
putting
call
them
it
on
a
vehicle
chariot.
mounted.
sorry, Rasha.
It's like a three-wheeler, have you seen? It's not a Segway, it's a chariot.
And it says like North Miami CRA or
It
North
does.
Miami Police CRA or something
Correct.
like,
Yeah,
yeah.
it does.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay, any other
Okay.
questions for the chief?
Make a motion that we approve.
Yeah, motion to approve.
For now, yes, one on Northwest Seventh.
Okay.
Because we had to find one, a business.
We have,
Two, the business had to be close enough to the roadway. And the
Yeah.
check cashing store is actually built to the road. If the businesses are off the road, the geography for the cameras aren't as good. That's why Alberto's Place is on the roadway, Captain Jim's is on the roadway. Right here is right on the roadway. We need a business that basically built to the roadway. So if in phase 2 or 3, we could look for a second camera on Northwest 7th Ave, but we wanted to spread them out as much as we could.
anything else? All right, we have a motion, to approve, and I think it's
Who
second.
made the motion, I'm sorry?
Okay.
I made
Emmanuel?
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
right. So, any other questions? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
All right, last item, Mr. Pastrade.
Okay.
All right, we're moving on to agenda item 5, which is a resolution to approve the CPO contracting for Liberty Gardens. All right, once again, committee members.
It feels good when it's actually
this
moving
is,
along, right?
This is another initiative, if you will, as Rasha mentioned, for in the downtown area. This is a recommendation for award of yet another bid award solicitation that was issued, and this was for a small, I guess, pocket park, if you will. It's titled Liberty Gardens Park, and this is located at 715 Northeast 125th Street, right down the block here. And I'll pass out this for those of you that don't have it. I mean, you might have it in your package. But what you'll have there is a site plan of what's proposed. It's essentially sort of an alleyway, if you will,
Right.
between two buildings. And what's being proposed is to convert this to an attractive area that will draw the residents. One of the purposes is to provide an area where artists can present some of their outdoor exhibits, if you will. So we'll attract, once again, residents to the downtown area to bring, again, some activity and some life to the downtown area, if you will. The bid award that is submitted for you, once again, was a response to a solicitation titled IFB 511718 for the renovation of Liberty Gardens Park. In response to the solicitation, our office received 4 responses, or 4 bids. The scope of work included is the renovation of this park, of this area. It includes the selective removal of existing landscape, existing paving, installation of concrete paving, landscape, trellises, an addition of site lighting, furniture, installation of art murals, which will be provided on a rotating basis by various artists. It also includes some site grading, landscape irrigation, and electrical work, et cetera. The bids are included there in the package from the 4 firms that submitted. The low bid was a company named CPO Contracting. And once again, you'll see that the price that was submitted by CPO Initially, it was $341,096, but again, following our reviews and meetings and conversation with CIPCO, with their cooperation, and also staff, including the CRA director, the project manager, as I mentioned, the engineers, we were able to arrive at a savings of over $43,000. So the final price for this project is $287,559. And similar to the other project, it has a completion timeline of 90 days from issuance of notice to proceed. And if you have any questions regarding this award, I'll be glad to take them.
Okay, yeah, we had a couple designs of where it was gonna look, remember?
Yes, so the history of this particular project, again, it was in the downtown, master plan, but it went to the
Right.
DAPAC board, right?
Right.
And the community planning department had a grant, has a CDBG grant, and they were supposed to do a design and everything, and they hired Calvin Giordano
Right.
or something.
Giordano.
So it took like a year process. They presented their designs and their plans to the DAPAC board. Councilman Keys was there and everything. And none of their designs actually made it. And I were no longer with us, cause he went to Delray Beach. Kent Walia came up with the design himself. He proposed it, everybody loved it, and when you look at it, it's great. It encompasses what we're looking for. A lot of greenery on the wall. It allows for sidewalk cafes, because that's something we're pushing for, more sidewalk cafes. The murals for art, for people to walk and so on, and it's still a walking path and so on and so forth. So we took the initial design that he came up with, and we had Corradino formalize it properly for us and so on and so forth. So in addition to this amount, I think the city CDBG department has an additional $20,000 as part of this project that they're putting in this as well. So, that's how the contract is covered.
Okay. It's gonna look really nice when it's.
Yeah, it is. But again, this is one of those things that, it took a few years to get it right. And, the other designs had, I think, covered roof. It was a lot of things, and for some reason, it wasn't fitting. And I think the DAPAC board
No,
is not
Kent
liking it.
was here at one of our meetings.
Yeah, he came, he presented the
Yeah.
initial design that he proposed.
Right, which was very nice.
But again, that's a treasure and asset that, we've lost because he moved to Delray Beach, but he did the design himself, right? As opposed to how much money they spent with Calvin Giordano, and then nobody liked, you know what I'm saying? So we're very happy that we're finally getting this done.
gonna be
And
nice.
we would like your support.
Okay, any other questions? to-
And I'll,
Wait a minute, hold on a second, don't jump.
I like this board,
Yeah,
right?
wait a minute. Okay, hold
Thank
on
you,
a
Mr.
second.
De-
Any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion? Mary moves?
Second.
Okay, all right.
Thank
Any
you.
other thing? All right, all in favor say aye?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Destrade.
Thank you, committee members.
All right, the last item on the agenda is very important. So as you recall, when I came on board in 2014, was it? And we did the reorganization of the CRA and so on and so forth. There was a grand jury report that came out. And it had like 35
Yeah.
recommendations and prompts and so on and so forth. And as a result of that, the Office of Inspector General took the grand jury report and came to audit us. And I think I had mentioned that to you, when they first came. This was a two-year audit. They were in my office literally for 1 year, and then they did the rest from their office. They looked at from 2000, I think like 2010 to now, till 2016. They went through everything and so on and so forth. So their report is in your hand and their findings. They sent the manager and myself a draft report. We reviewed it. They brought 3 items up, which these are things that we already knew. And, so therefore, when you read it and you read their conclusion is that there's no, follow-through, no follow-up necessary because we addressed it. One of the things was the management of the grants. When we came along, as you recall, there were 3 grants that were lingering pending, PI Beauty, El Kiosco,
Right.
and Starfire, and Mocha Cafe also. They commented on that. So those were grants that went past their time, they were not completed in a timely manner, we wrapped it up, we cleaned it up, and we got it done. The other thing was the monitoring of the grants. One of the ones that they brought up when you, I'm just giving you the bullet points, but I know you're gonna, you know, in your bedtime reading, you'll go through the details. But like Pollo Tropical, as you recall, the CRA gave them a grant for 250,000. Jobs were tied to it. They were supposed to provide 20 jobs to city residents. Well, when they submitted their reports, yes, the names were Haitian, but the people didn't live in the city. And nobody paid attention until we came along, and I would go through the reports and I would send it back to them. So we got to a point where we had to send a legal letter saying, you owe us the money because you were in, you know, not in compliance for a few years. Yes. And so we had already caught most of those things, as you know, when we did the reorganization. So we checked, you know, simple things. It's so funny, the attorney, he's out of Texas, he's like, well, I am told that this is the state attorney. I'm like, and I'm here, property taxes. If it says 30, it's unincorporated Dade. If it says 06, it's North Miami. If you use that as your basis for checking residency, you shouldn't have a problem. Unfortunately, I felt bad about it. They actually let go of staff to replace it with North Miami residents. And I told them they didn't have to, they could have just reimbursed us the money, but they didn't want to. So you'll read.
They did hire North Miami.
Yeah, they did hire North Miami residents, yeah. I mean, we check everything. We tell people that every day. Like
good,
Cafe
that's good.
Creme, they gotta give us their payroll receipts, and we check residency, and if you miss it, we come knocking. But the point is, they were saying that these things, all the findings were things that happened in the prior administration, but they still wanted to bring it up. So that's what they brought up, and they wanted to make sure that we had measures to, one, rectify the issue when it happens, but two, also to make sure that you are aware of what's happening. Like I told you, our grantee, she sold the property, we enforced it, we don't forgive, we collected our money. So we do follow procedure, and we do have a system. The second complaint that they had was, and you guys knew that already, was the fact that there was a large carryover amount from past years. As you know, state statute says you have 3 years on a capital project. And when I came on board in 2014, I've been preaching, you got 3 years on this clock. Like, if the project is not done, you gotta defund it because that's the law. If not, you have to refund it. The challenge with that, you're gonna love this, Mr. Each, when the past staff were released was because of budget, as you recall, because they were funding, like 200,000 was going to salary when the revenue was 400,000. Remember? They had in the bank $4 million, but they never put it in the budget to do things. And I think it was more of like, lack of training or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So there was money. It was not budgeted to be spent. So when we came along, as you recall, we had like a high carryover amount, like $5 million in carryover, because we actually booked the money and we tied projects to it. And as you see, we're spending it on these capital projects as per the plan. So again, they want to make sure that we have a proper system. And because we're using the city's finance system now, we're part of the city's Eden system and so on and so forth, we're able to capture all the funds, how they're spent, and an explanation if it's not spent as it should be. Like I just said, the police reclassification, under community policing, we had one line item, but since the police decided to use it not on staffing, they decided to use it on equipment, it's a capital outlay. So I had to reclass it and show it in the proper line item so people won't think we're, doing certain things and so on and so forth. And so that was two. So it was the grants, the carryover, and then the last one, they made comments on the housing, the past housing program, how we're doing things. Again, they are happy that we're using the city's housing department as the outside entity that's taking care of the housing rehab and so on and so forth. They thought also, I don't know if you remembered, but a lot of the programs, the housing programs, had also monitoring responsibilities, which were not done pre-2014, and some of them had repayment requirements. The foreclosure loan program, okay, we started enforcing payment requirements again after 2014, and we did collect about like 7,000, I think, out of the money before we forgave the rest. So for them, it's, if you're creating those guidelines, we have to enforce it, we have to be aware. They were satisfied with all the systems that we created, the new grant guidelines. So you will see in there the manager's response saying that, you know, again, for the record, all the findings from the OIG, I'm reading from the second paragraph. The findings in the OIG draft audit report are consistent with the discoveries made by the current CRA administration and staff during the 2014-15 reorganization of the CRA. During and since that time, CRA remediated all the shortfalls of the prior administration. So we've done everything, plus we got our extension, plus we have projects happening, and
That letter was dated, what, August 13th?
the one that, yeah, August 13th, yeah.
You know,
Very good.
yeah, I remember when, there was a time when Rasha
Yes, sir.
and our now deputy city manager,
Yeah.
Arthur Sori,
Sorry.
and our Terry Henley, who was our finance department, the three of them, you know, took on the monumental task of straightening out the CRA. And of course, with our city manager then thereafter coming on board, Larry Springs, we've moved mountains, okay, and overcome a lot. So there's a lot of credit to Rasha and to Duke and to Terry and to, of course, Larry, for all they've done, because if you guys hadn't have done what you've done, we would not be looking at the extension that we have right now. So plaudits to you guys, and, you know,
Thank you. And, that concludes, my report,
okay,
to
I
the
know we
board.
have our, attorney is not with us.
No.
Anything from our executive director?
No, just obviously we're in budget season right now, so he's preoccupied with, you know, the city's budget, and us getting our budget in time as part of the city's budget to go to the county. In October, we will be presenting to you, like I said, the mobility hub master plan, the housing plan. There will be a lot of projects. We have a wait list for grants right now, which is kind of scary. We reopened the software, so now people can start applying. So, Gail is being bombarded with quite a bit. We have some new businesses that are moving into the CRA. I don't know if you know that, but the Chase building, was bought.
Planet Fitness.
Planet Fitness is coming in to replace Chase,
Yeah.
and they will be coming to us. Well, I told them they're gonna miss the October
So
meeting.
where's Chase going?
850, they just sent an email, they're moving, I think by Simons, 850 Northeast 125th Street, so they're going to a smaller space,
Smaller,
which is
okay.
which is
Right.
necessary, which,
Anyway.
yeah, because it's a wasted space over there.
Who's that?
Chase, the bank?
Chase,
Bank.
the bank.
Oh, the bank?
Yeah, right over
Yeah, they're moving to 850 because the new owner bought the building and now Planet Fitness has signed the lease for that space.
Planet Fitness.
Yeah, a workout place, like a gym.
Yeah. So LA Fitness is too far, Planet Fitness is in the downtown, which then leads to residents moving in
Well,
and
you
patronizing.
certainly can't between LA Fitness, then you have US One Fitness.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna have Planet, we're gonna have a whole stream of,
Healthy
No,
people,
it's-
healthy people.
We didn't
nobody's gonna be able to
So-
complain there isn't a gym
Planet
around.
Fitness should have went to 7th Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a couple of things coming up. The mayor's quarterly luncheon is September 20th. It's a luncheon, so I know some of you have to work and you can't come around. But this one is actually on CRAs redoing downtowns, redevelopment, public-private partnerships.
Where are you
You-
gonna hold it
It's at Johnson and Wales.
at? Oh, is it?
Yeah. Sam Blatt is the one who's already blasted it. It's very interesting if you can attend. I hope they film it because they're showing best practices of what other CRAs have done. West Palm Beach CRA did wonders. That's where the old CRA was. They paid for the demolition. A new hotel is coming there, and you know.
Deerfield has been,
Yep, yeah, and how do you capitalize on what the CRA's opportunities and investments are to redo your downtown? So it's a great conversation. If you can make it, please do. If not, tell your friends, your investors, your developers. It's from 12 to 2. Then the Mocha Plaza should be done by mid-October. As you can see, 60% of the surface is done. The lighting will be coming next. And once we're done with the rest, the fountain and so on and so forth, Cafe Creme, we're gonna have to lift the outside. It's gonna be a 3-day, some of it is overnight, but we gotta change the drainage and the pavers under the outside. I know they're having a heart attack because they're like, we're gonna kill their business for 3 days, but progress, has some pain in it.
It's still going, so
I know, but,
I'm just asking.
yes, you can. Yeah. We're gonna make sure, we try to be as less disruptive as possible, but it is, part of the improvement of the downtown. The lighting is gonna be extraordinary. Then after that, you're gonna have the kickoff event, Art Basil's coming, Nomi Brew Fest is coming back. So there's so many events and activities that are gonna be coming as a result of this improvement, and we hope to capitalize on it
Very good.
You say September
Okay,
20th
there-
on the business lunch at Johnson and Wales.
at Johnson and Wells. You can email Sam and RSVP.
Okay, is there any old business? Any new business?
No,
Move to
no, unless
adjourn?
you have any
Move to
questions.
adjourn.
Second?
What's your invitation? It's gonna come up and say-
October. It's
All
called
in
the
favor, say
mobility
aye.
hub.
Aye.
Now. Come, Mr. Each.